talk about some specific projects that are happening in the lab. First up, let's talk about circadian rhythms. I know most people think about circadian rhythms in relationship to sleep, but it's more than that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So it was a education to me as well. I'll tell you one sad story is that when I was in Seymour's lab, I knew about circadian clocks, but I didn't put it together with aging. It took me a while when I left his lab that, this is, and now I know you guys are going to say, yeah, I agree, I'm not smart. Took me a while to get this together. But basically, the focus had been on this circadian clocks regulating sleep and behavior. But what became apparent, and that's big reason why they gave the Nobel Prize, big reason, and they're realizing now, it's tied in with metabolism, aging, and so many diseases. So animals that don't have a proper circadian rhythm get obese, get type 2 diabetes, get cancer. So they're realizing that it's tied in with too many processes. And the key concept to remember is that it's not, like I said, it's not just sleep. Every cell in your body has a clock. And that really getting into this project changed the way I'm living a little bit, because earlier I remember I wouldn't think twice about going to the refrigerator at nighttime and I'm hungry, I want to eat something. Never thought that was a problem. Nobody knows if that was a problem, right? Till recently they've done studies and basically it shows that if you eat at nighttime, that really predisposes you to obesity. And if you were to not eat at the wrong time, basically doing things at the wrong time, it messes the body up. The idea is that, like I said, every cell has a clock. So we're tuned. The body is tuned in. So the liver and the gut. Think about that. They wake up in the morning and they're ready to take in food and digest it and process it in a certain way. So there are processes for the day and the processes for the night. So during fat, for example, you've got to take in the food, assimilate it as calories, and then at nighttime when you're not eating, you've got to be able to break down. There's partition. All these processes are partitioned. Now what happens when you eat at the wrong time? The body gets the wrong signal. It's like the gut, the liver, it starts waking up, and you end up actually, this has been done in mice. They took two populations of mice, one fed at night, one fed at day. Mice wake up at night. The ones that eat at night are totally healthy. Same amount of calories. If they eat during the day, they become obese.
And mice are on a different schedule.
But they're nocturnal animals, right. So I hope I didn't confuse anyone. So the idea is that the other thing we're finding, which is very exciting, is we're finding that a lot of the repair processes take place at night. So think about the consequences again of giving food at the wrong time or not being able to sleep. You're not giving your body a chance to essentially regenerate. A lot of stem cell, you hear a lot about stem cells. Well, all that's happening at nighttime. Well, a lot of the regeneration, repair takes place, DNA repair, dealing with oxidative stress, all that, the body is trying to fix that at night. Food created, for example, food and other things you did during the day created a lot of damage, and that's getting fixed. And if you don't do that, we're finding lots of problems take place in the flies, for example.
So for you personally, how do you manage this?
Yeah, like I said, so I try to at least have the recommendation is at least 12 to 14 hours of break from food, essentially. So when you have your dinner to the next meal, try to keep that break as long as you can. I mean, 12 to 14 hours, like I said, would be ideal. Yeah. And just having improved physical activity during the day, that really helps you sleep at night. I would add to that there's more and more evidence that a lot of the neurodegenerative diseases, people are finding evidence that sleeping disorders precede the actual problems. You can have problems in your early 30s, 40s, which eventually, they think those are early sensitive markers that predispose you to neurodegeneration. So activity, and the other thing is just light exposure. We're doing this at this time. Like I said, remember that slide. This is not how we were brought up. Not to be in a room at 10 o'clock in the morning. What is very interesting, and we're finding this in the fly as well, I think it's just fascinating. The body is most receptive, and the fly, most receptive around 9 to 12 o'clock in the morning to light. So if that's when you want to get your sunlight, and that helps the circadian clock the most. So we can model that in the fly. We're seeing that there are changes in the eye of the fly at that time that make it receptive to light. And if you miss that period, and so now people do that as phototherapy for even for Alzheimer's. There's one of the articles, a few articles I read, but they're doing phototherapy, and there's an optimal time for that. So, it's linked with lots of things, lots of behavior.
So get up in the morning, open the windows, get your sunlight early, and try not to sit in dark rooms too often.
And be active during the day. Nothing like everybody knows here. Yeah, you swim. The day you swim or you do something, you exercise well, that's the day you have the best sleep. Yeah.
So next slide. So your lab